It's time for another quick take, ladies and gentlemen. 5 reasons why Juan Martin Del Potro defeated Roger Federer in the U.S. Open quarterfinals. You heard me right. We're still not getting a Roger Federer-Rafael Nadal matchup in the U.S. Open. How this has happened, I don't know, but I'm going to get into it when it comes, as it pertains to this match at least. If you're wondering why the format for this video is a little different, read the description. I'll explain. Instead of the in-depth analysis, we're going to scratch the surface here. Let's talk about 5 reasons why Juan Martin Del Potro was able to pull off what I believe was a major upset. I'm sure there are people out there who gave Del Potro a great chance at winning, but I thought Federer was going to win in straight sets. I said it in my previous video, and I don't think I was on an island holding, with that viewpoint either. So it's a shocking result to me. But looking back at it, the signs were there for this upset to happen. Okay, so number 5, the Argentine crowd. I felt like in Ashe, which is obviously, the biggest stadium in men's tennis, a stadium where it's, especially this late in the tournament, the ticket prices are high. It's hard to get in there. I didn't think, and it's not as intimate, I didn't think the Argentine crowd would play as big a role in this match as they did in the Dominic Thiem match. I was wrong. I got to give it up to these guys. And I've experienced Federer Del Potro at Arthur Ashe at the U.S. Open in the 2009 final. And I'll tell you what, give it up to the Argentine crowd supporting Juan Martin Del Potro and just how vocal they are and the stamp that they're able to make on a match in a venue that big is very, very impressive. And I do think Federer was maybe a little bit rattled by it. And if he wasn't rattled by it, then certainly it didn't help. I'll put it that way. It didn't help, and Federer's not used to this. It's very, very rare that Federer loses a big point and the crowd actually cheers, except that's what we had here. Number 4, health. This is another thing that I was completely wrong about heading into this match. Del Potro has been battling illness early in the tournament. He almost retired in his match against Dominic Thiem. It was a long, hard 5-setter. I was concerned that Del Potro would not be able to physically recover for this match against Federer, but he did. What can you say? Federer, on the other hand, what you got to look at is what he said in his post-match press conference, and it was very candid by Federer. Not that he's not always candid, but definitely a little bit more blunt than we're used to seeing Roger Federer in the post-match press conferences. He said, I basically wasn't feeling it physically, I wasn't feeling it mentally, and I knew that if I was going to run into a certain level of player, that I was going to lose. Extremely honest by Roger Federer, and to me what that says is that he was not in great health. In terms of his movement, in terms of what I saw, I thought his movement looked a little bit stiff. Number 3, Federer's stubbornness. When I say that, I'm talking about his stubbornness tactically. And I think that this was a problem in 2009 when he lost the final to Del Potro. And in that final, I felt like he didn't fear the fear hand of Juan Martin Del Potro. It's such an incredible weapon, and I think that sometimes Federer is a little bit stubborn about basically hitting it to Del Potro's backhand when normally he'd pull a forehand inside in, where normally he'd hit his backhand down the line. Federer very rarely changes his game for his opponents, and 98% of the time, that's fine. But against Del Potro, he oftentimes hits it to the open court to Del Potro's forehand side when he shouldn't. It's like he dares him to hit that running forehand. And that's a strength of Del Potro's, whereas if you're approaching the net, he should be 80% to Del Potro's backhand. It wasn't like that. It was maybe like 60-40 to Del Potro's backhand. Now, I thought that Federer, as the match went on, did much more attacking of... he attacked Del Potro's backhand a lot more often, and especially on his approach shots, he made it more of a point to go to Del Potro's backhand. But too little, too late, and this is a good segue into number 2, because Del Po's backhand return came up huge in big moments. Federer, on all the biggest points in the match, seemed to serve volley to Del Potro's backhand. He did it in the tiebreak, in the third set, and he did it on some big break points in the fourth set. And it didn't work. Del Potro was able to come up with some really big backhand returns and some big backhand passing shots. Now, if you look at the match as a whole, I thought that when Federer approached Del Potro's backhand, he had really good success. But in the big points, you got to give it up to Del Potro. He hit some really, really nice backhand passing shots, whether it be off of Federer's serve and volley or whether it be off of Federer's approach shot. Number 1, Federer's finishing. Roger's an offensive player. He gets tons and tons of short balls. So, you know, a key when you get your mid-court ball, and something that Federer's great at, is at this point you got to finish. And normally it's a strength, and it was a flat-out weakness for Roger in this match. He made a lot of errors on his mid-court forehand. And I mentioned it before, even when he wasn't making errors, he was going to Del Potro's forehand and getting burnt for it. Or on the big points, he was going to Del Potro's backhand and still getting burnt for it. He missed a huge overhead when he ultimately got broken in the fourth set. It was a huge overhead at deuce that set up a break point for Del Potro. Federer couldn't finish here. He got enough short balls. He was playing an attacking brand of tennis. I thought his timing was fine on his ground strokes, but when it came to moving inside the court and finishing points, something that is one of the most essential parts of Federer's game, right after his serve, Federer, oddly enough, was poor in this area. So all in all, I chalk it up to Federer really not feeling it physically or mentally, but Del Potro, with the heart that he's shown in this U.S. Open run is impeccable, and I feel great about it. I haven't decided if I'm going to pick him to beat Nadal in the next round, in the semifinals. I still got to mull over that. I got to think about it. I'll make a video about it. Stay tuned for that. Once again, read the description. This was a kind of a different video. I'll explain why. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.